Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. A bug out bag. I update these every few years. I do believe you should significantly spend more time thinking about bugging in. But if and when a day does come for a hurricane, tornado, flash flooding, EMP, some type of event where it's pushing you away from your house, away from your neighborhood, maybe you consider putting yourself together a bug out bag. The things in here are what's going to work for me. And as I'm the lead in my family and everybody else carries ancillary gear, this may not work for you. First, we got to talk about the Vertex Siege. This is the 35-liter variant. Listen, right now, Vertex is having a Memorial Day sale where you can get a very good chunk discount on this bag. This thing is super functional. When they came out with the 35-liter, I said, Vertex, I gotta get my hands on this because this is perfect when it comes to a bug out bag scenario. Take a look at this little brother here. This one here is about a 25-liter. 35-liter, just significantly more room, much more stuff you can pack in there. It even has different features than the 25-liter. So if you want to see a video comparing the two, make sure you get subscribed to the channel because I'll be doing a review on this bag. So I'm loving the way that this thing is outfitted. I'm going to go over through some things for you. You can decide if they're going to work for you. Would you keep those? Would you not? Etc. etc. Outside of the bag, first thing we're going to talk about is some type of protection. We do keep a little bit or a lot of it of pepper gel. Now, instead of just using the smaller pepper gel, which I normally would carry sometimes in my EDC, this larger one is something good that I could hook to my shoulder strap of my bag or quickly grab this out. If I need this for self-defense purposes, okay, if I don't want to go completely lethal, which I do have the ability to go lethal, and I want to keep somebody away from my crap, this is a way for me to be able to egress or evac out of a situation by spraying this, removing the safety, pushing down, boom, you're good to go. Now, the thing about pepper gel is that you're going to get sprayed in the face. So be prepared for that and maybe even test this stuff out. So above that is a camp axe. Now, the thing about having a good, reliable camp axe is that when you do finally do settle down, I would recommend getting something that's very reliable. This is an E-swing. Now, this one here particularly, I like it because it's small. It is good for splitting wood. But the best thing about it is that it basically fits in any part or any component of my bag that I want it to, and it's relatively easy to sharpen as well. So of course you may have your fixed blade knife, which would be good for splitting wood depending on how well made it is. I do have a good fixed blade knife on here, but sometimes you just want something that has a dedicated tasker, and this could be something that can be left by the fire. It can be used for all sorts of other things other than just chopping wood, whether you're breaching a door, right? If it's a wooden door, you may not be so lucky on an aluminium door, but a wooden door, you can use it for stuff like that as well. So something to even think about. Let's talk about water, okay? So I do have the Grail water bottle in here. I have about 4 of these, okay? This one particularly was sent to me by Grail, but before I ever had a relationship with them, I bought all my Grail bottles myself. I love these things. This lets you drink water from basically every continent. You can just put it through here, press through. It's good for about 300 pushes. This gets the Puritans, 99.9% of the toxins out of the water. This won't work so well on the chunky stuff. So maybe you put a coffee filter in here or just try to get a water source that doesn't have like chunky dirt in it and stuff like that. This is really good if you're walking on the side of a building, and you want to tap into their building water source. If you got a Silcock key, which is also in here as well, which will allow for me to tap into a water source or something like that. Hero clip is what I use to hang this entire bag from surfaces, and I use the top strap of the bag to do stuff like that. If we look at the front of the bag, this is where I normally will keep just heavy duty items that I want access to, but I don't want them 100% in my pocket or on my shoulder strap immediately. So one of those items is going to be the Phoenix. This is the long range, the LR35R Pro. This thing, fantastic, has a crazy beam distance. It has so many different beam patterns. It has an RGB light. It also has a UV light. So you can use both of those if you need be, but it also just has a really good light itself. You can do different beam patterns where you get the middle, You can also go with the outer beam pattern. If I bring this down low, you can kind of see what that looks like, and then push it again to get the more floody look to it, or the spot beam look to it. This is just a very good search and rescue light. Lots of lumen output. This thing is running on massive batteries. This is something that is going to be more powerful than the flashlight that's in my pocket, most likely. So I normally keep this on the very front of the Siege. Next to that is the multi-tool, which normally is not on my person. This is the next tool. This is their new camp multi-tool that they have. This is called the CP10. This little thing here, I like it because it includes a ferro rod, and then you can use like the saw part of, so it has a little ferro rod that attaches to the actual multi-tool. And then you can use something like the saw or some type of part of the multi-tool that you don't really care about, and you can take that and use that to throw some sparks, right? So saw is probably something that you're not going to be overly concerned about using versus like your fixed blade knife or whatever. So both of those stay there. And then it's just nice to have a multi-tool that can do different things. Whether it is, if you need to take something apart, you're walking past a piece of metal or something like that, and you want to just take advantage of that on your journey, take it apart if it's made of Phillips or whatever, then you have that availability. Then on the front of here, we do have the Montana Knife Company Redacted, a fantastic fixed blade knife made of Magna Cut. What I really like about it is the size. Big old beefy monster here. The Magna Cut on there is really good for splitting wood. It's really good for womping on the back of it. Mine's had quite a beating from just splitting wood over the years. Well, I say over the years. I think this thing's only been out a year. It has good G10 scales, full grip. I mean, this is a very easy to hold knife. I have it zip tied to the front of this bag, and I did keep the belt holder included so that if I want to, I can cut these zip ties off with the multi-tool and then use this on my belt. So I did keep the belt holder on there. I didn't want to make it completely naked. Now this Siege bag, I could actually, if I wanted to, take this apart and stick a poncho in here, some wet clothing, a pair of shoes or whatever. I have mine empty for now, but it's just a very well built bag. It does self-stand if you pack it correctly. You see my bag is standing up on its own because I packed it up pretty good. So on the shoulder strap of the bag, I am rocking the Sulfurn. This is the SE1. This thing just came out. This is a great little light just to have. It's a 4-way clip, so I can make the light go whatever direction I want to, up, down, left, right, whatever. But then if I want to, I could actually access this RGB, which is good if you're rucking, because what that will do is just kind of people on the path in front of you will have just a little light to know that there's a human coming, right? So that's kind of important if you want that. It also has a UV light. It has a very good moonlight mode. So if I don't want to mess up my entire night vision, I can use this very, very easily. These shoulder straps, the one thing I like about the Siege is it includes these zippered pockets, which I've seen on other bags, on like very few bags before. This lets me keep stuff in here that's very important to me. So this is just a very cheaply made 550 cord bracelet with a compass, a button compass, and a whistle built in. But I would rather just have this and put it on my wrist if I'm going to begin to be doing a whole lot of walking for bugging out purposes. And then I do keep a lensmatic compass on here for shooting azimuths. So if you know how to shoot an azimuth, I'll be mostly in a city environment using maps, but if I find myself in the woods, it's going to be very important that I can precisely continue the exact path and not just generally have north, south, east, or west, but actually be doing a little bit of land navigation. So I do have a few redundancies in this bag on purpose because in this type of scenario, 1 is none and 2 is 1. So next to that, I keep this one purposely empty because it does have a little elastic loop in here. The reason I keep this empty is so that when I move that flashlight that you saw in the front, the flashlight goes in here. So that way I just have a space for the flashlight and I'm not being overly packed out. This does have a chest cinch inside, and this bag has a built-in waist strap that you can remove if you want to. But the way I have this packed down, this would be one bag where I actually keep the waist pack, unlike some other bags. At the very top up here, you do get a loop panel to go with the other loop panel that you get up here. And then you do have this pocket, accessible pocket, which I do keep important items for me. I have long hair, so I usually keep a a hair tie in here. I do have the Phoenix. This is the HM55R Renegade. Very easy to use light, and I like the fact that you can just turn this on, get different light modes, whether it is flood, spot, beam, and it's very easy to swap the battery out as well. So, and it has a very good headband with no loop, hook and loop on there, so I don't have to worry about anything tearing my hair up. Then I keep a pair of heat wave glasses in here because if I am bugging out, there's a slim chance that I don't have a pair of sunglasses on me. So I bought these desert heat wave glasses all over again. So I have two of these now, one in my rucking kit and one in this kit. And then I also keep a blanket in here and some Kleenex. So Kleenex to be able to wipe my nose. It can be annoying to not be able to wipe your nose. And then right here is a Matador. This is a two-person blanket that unfolds. So if you do get to certain areas and you want to be able to just throw your bag down, plop down, chill out for a second, you don't want your stuff getting super muddy, get the blanket muddy, then versus getting your whole bag muddy by laying that thing out. So that's basically everything I have on the outside. There are a couple of hidden pockets. This is actually a CCW bag. So here is their fast pull tab, right? So rapid access pull tab. You can pull this, and this will allow for you to get a little hidden pocket back here where I keep a couple of survival books, mainly because I don't remember how to do every single type of first aid that I was taught while I was in the Marines. We mostly had Navy corpsmen. So applying is an Israeli bandage, or if I have a sunken chest wound, or if I want to apply a triangle bandage or something like that, this will just help remind me how to do that. I can read up on that whenever I take breaks. And then I have the Ultimate Survival Guide, which also gives me reminders of stuff that I learned in the Marines, but may have since forgotten. First aid, rescue, how to find food, water, making shelter, all that type of stuff. So it's just good to have these things in here as reading material, but also survival material. So those kind of stay with me at all times. The thing I like about the Vertex Siege is that you can access the main compartment with 4 zippers. So I could unzip this and access the stuff that's in the main compartment that's at the bottom just by unzipping these 4-way zippers, right? So now I can see everything in the bottom of my bag. So I like that because there may be some things like what you just saw here is actually my trauma kit. And so it's at the bottom of this bag, but because it is 4-way zippered, it allows me to just open it and rip it out if I need it to. But it doesn't get used as often, so it's no need for me to keep it towards the top of my bag. Now, the things that I keep in here that aren't in here right now, the things that I would slip in this front pocket would be a map, map of East Texas, DFW area, a bit of West Texas, maybe towards Jack County. And that will just allow me to navigate whether I'm going west or east on foot or through an electric means. I would have those maps. They're in my get home bag, which is in my truck right now. But I need to buy another set. That's normally what I would slip in here. And then I normally would also slip any personal documents that I want to grab on the fly from here inside the house. I might put those in here as well. Okay. So if you get inside this bag, one thing you're going to notice is that they have these little tie downs right here. These tie downs keep the bag from flopping all the way open. This is the difference between the 25 liter and the 35 liter, because if you want to fully open this bag, you actually have to take these apart. And once you take these apart, then you can fully go full clamshell on the bag. I like that because if I just want to peek into the bag, I don't have to worry about stuff flopping all over the place. And all right, before we jump into the lid or the second part of the bag, and talk about the stuff that's on the inside fully, let's talk about today's video sponsor, which also will be incredibly important in a bug out situation, which is Ver in their C4 Tactical Field Solar Watch. I like this. It has a big watch face, but one thing I really like about it is the bezel. You can use this to as a time elapse tool. How long have I been walking in this particular direction by using the bezel of this? Fantastic loom on this. It's a field watch, makes it easy to read and super reliable. And it's a solar watch, meaning if you have to bug out with a smartwatch, you're going to have to think about ways to keep that watch alive. Even the most durable 30-day watch you can think of, this thing's smoking it with that type of stuff. Much more accurate, and this thing has crazy amount of waterproofing compared to smartwatches of most smartwatches. So that's why I like this thing so much. Like this because it looks really good whether you're using a survival situation or an office environment. and it charges with the sun. So about 6 hours of sunlight will get you 6 months of reserve time on this. If you don't touch it for 6 months, it's going to be just fine. Check the links down below for the best pricing, and shout out to Bear for sponsoring today's video. So you can kind of see how stuff is packed up in here. Okay. So we're just going to go through the bag. First, let's go with the main compartment, and then we'll go with the lid. Okay. So the main compartment, I do have some MREs in here. I don't eat beef or pork, so I had to really think about the beef. The breakfast skillet one, in a survival situation, I would probably eat whatever they have in here, but I like cold weather MREs more than regular MREs because they have more calories. So I can make, me personally, can make one MRE work per day, whether I'm just eating the snack parts of the MRE, eating the main meal portion, drinking the coffee. Like, I can make an MRE work for an entire day. So I have three. In theory, these should carry me through 3 days. Okay. Super hungry, I might eat an entire one. We'll see. Also have one of my favorites, which is rice and chicken. That's a really good one. And then I have a chicken and rice. So the rice and chicken, that was Mexican, and chicken and rice, I don't know what flavor that is. Then you can kind of see I have everything in here just pretty well organized how I want it to be. This is what it looks like full clamshell mode. I normally wouldn't flop the bag open like this. I would peek it open like you saw earlier, but I just want to show you guys what everything looks like whenever you have it in here. So I have these little survival, like these are waterproof bags that I put together myself. And these bags here have different kits inside of them. So this one is a bite kit. This is for bites, stings. This has bug repellent. This also has a marker kit on here so I can mark trees and stuff while I walk by, a pencil, a little bit of scrap paper. Just for bites, stings, it also has a whistle. So it's kind of a small do-all kit, but I have it in a see-through case so that I can see it. This is leak-proof, airtight, and it can be waterproof up to 200 feet. So it's really good bags. This is a fishing kit with all instructions. As I mentioned earlier, I have that kit in front, but hey, I don't remember how to make a lure correctly, or maybe I don't know how to use aluminum with a fishing line or make a hook, whatever. So a full fishing kit along with a little saw in here so that I can trim a tree branch or whatever up to about 2 inches thick, some snare wire, a signal mirror, just kind of in a coffee filter. Remember earlier I told you that that water filter won't take care of the chunky stuff. Well, if I strain the water through this first, then I'll get the chunky stuff out, and then the Grail water bottle will take care of the toxins and puritans. So that's what I want that for. This is a backup system. Of course, I have the Grail water bottle, but I do have a sour. This is a water filtration system. This removes 100% of microplastics. This is just a more of a cumbersome process because you have to gather the water, you have to squirt it through the filter, and you have to store the water. The Grail's a lot more seamless, but this can pump water out and be put in different bags or whatever. But just in case I were to lose my Grail or whatever, I have a backup. I also have an emergency radio in here. This is going to be good for national weather alerts, but if it was a real big emergency, like a Wolverine, Red Dawn type of emergency, I would also be able to get signals from AM, FM, and all that other type of stuff from this radio. This radio is not the best in the world. It also has a little light on the front, which I don't intend to use for anything but maybe illuminating the inside of my bag. But that's about it. Very clicky buttons, pretty good speaker. It also recharges with the sun or USB Type-C, or you can wind it if it's completely dead as well. At the very top, I have a Matador. This is a 30-liter packable duffel. So if I come up on more goods on the trail or while I'm out, I can actually turn this into a full duffel, drape this over my shoulder, and take that stuff with me. Or if I want to give some stuff to some people, I can open this thing up, give some folks some stuff to some people, and keep it moving. I also have a sewing kit. So I have the clothes that I'll be wearing. And I also have a poncho in here. I have hats. I have different things, a tarp, different things that could be accidentally ripped or torn. I want to be able to sew together. And this also can help with shelter building. Okay, so just having a bunch of threaded needles, scissors is really handy. You do have a survival candle. This thing will burn up to 36 hours, depending on how you burn it. It's a slow burning candle. It's good for keeping with you, illuminating different stuff. It doesn't put out any toxins. And it also will be good to help you start other fires if you got this thing burning for a long time. As mentioned, we got that tarp that I mentioned. So very big tarp. This also has holes in the side, so I can use this as a windbreak, and I can use this as a catch, a rain catch. So just different areas if I want to be able to do it. This is a 2110 Oxford. So, and it's 210 centimeters by 210 centimeters. I don't remember how big that is, but it does have the loops on the side. So if I want to be able to tie this down with paracord, which is also in this bag, this would be good for helping create a wall of a shelter, maybe an entire shelter if I do a triangle tent. The trauma kit, I do have an ouchie boo boo kit in here, but this trauma kit with the Leatherman Raptor tool in the front will Israeli bandage. Someone were to get shot on a trail or something like that, a bunch of medicine, headache medicine, diarrhea medicine, stop diarrhea, just a bunch of different stuff in here just in case, with some gloves. Hopefully to mostly be used on myself. All right, I kind of treat this as like a big IFAC, like an individual first aid kit, but I could also use it on someone else. It has a label on it to let somebody know. In the side pocket of this bag itself, this is where I keep the ouchie boo boo kit. So triangle bandage, it's kind of like one level above ouchie boo boo, but band-aids in here, gauze, just different size pads that could be applied to different scrapes, cuts, scratches, burns, whatever. That's in this ouchie boo boo kit. And then behind here, I do keep a signal, a signal fabric. So if I want to signal an aircraft from the air, that's in here. Then I do keep this Spec Ops. This is a smaller crowbar, which is really good for breaching doors. So we have the axe in the front. We have this. So if I really want to try to breach a door, put this, grab this along with those sunglasses, because those sunglasses are designed to keep shards of wood and stuff from hitting your eyeballs. And I could attempt to use that to breach a door. And then a little bit more of some iodine swabs, just in case I need those. Those kind of go along with my trauma kit, but I have them with my ouchie boo boo. So this kind of all works for this area over here. And then on the other side, this other pocket, this one particularly is zippered, okay? And this is where I keep a mosquito net. So if I'm walking on a trail, I normally will have a hat with me. I can drape this over my head and try to keep bugs and mosquitoes, especially when you're walking at night. It is so annoying. I don't mind them landing on my skin, but my face gets on my nerves. Then we have this Atwood 550 quart dispenser. This is the larger size. I have the smaller size as well, because these things are fantastic because they can keep a big lighter in here. So that's going to be good for starting a fire. Big lighters are just God tier. The fuel just never evaporates. This one has been in here for at least a year. It can cut the paracord. It keeps the paracord and it stores the paracord. So this thing will let me dispense paracord very easily. An emergency poncho. So this is just kind of stuff that I want to keep at the ready and not have to dig out of the bag, especially the mosquito net. I guess I probably could move the mosquito net to the top of the bag, but this is kind of where I have it right now. Then I have this survival kit. This is the Ultimate Adventure Survival Kit by Best Glide ASC. Mine is a little bit supplemented, but for the most part, for less than 200 bucks or around 200 bucks, maybe the price has gone up since I bought it, you get all sorts of stuff in here. Yeah, mine is slightly supplemented. I did add a couple of water treatment bottles in here to treat large amounts of water, just in case I were to be staying somewhere and a little bit more storage was needed. We do keep a secondary compass in here, just in case those first two are lost. The button compass is not incredibly accurate, but I do have a Brunton. This is a base plate compass, and it's very accurate, just like the Lismatic compass. Of some fire starting stuff, more fishing stuff, some duct tape, matches, just a bunch of extra little things that I want to keep in here just in case. So I always have the stuff at the ready. Okay, so you can buy this kit on Amazon, and it's just a very good kit to start with if you're not really sure where to start. This kind of can help you survive, minus food. This can kind of help you survive for at least 2 or 3 days, or not, probably longer in the woods. Okay, now up here, this is a larger, actually I'm sorry, this orange panel here earlier is an emergency blanket. Okay, so that's why it's my medical stuff. This is a signal panel, so that you can use this to grab the attention um, of, and it's made of a high durable fabric. This can also be used as a windbreak, and it could be used a part of your a part of your shelter. So it's made of parachute cord, so it's very strong and durable. This thing's not going to go anywhere. Behind that, to keep that flashlight charged up, because it is a flashlight, plus the flashlight I'm probably going to have on my body. This is I think this is a 30-watt solar panel. But this solar panel, I can flop open and I can let it hang off the back of my bag while I'm walking. And if I really want to, I could, along with this cable, this is a USB-A to USB-C, USB-C cable. I can tap into this and charge up that flashlight. So it's not just being used and never being recharged. So I keep these back here together just in case. And then we move on to the lid. So up here in the lid area, right, there's this pocket, which I keep nothing in here right now. But if needed, I can put up my keys. If I'm bugging out, I can throw my keys in here. But I didn't want to overly stuff this bag, so this is pretty much empty. I'm thinking about putting a bandana or baklava in here just to keep myself from dust and wind. Then at the very top, I keep some chem lights. Very nice to be able to illuminate your camp area whenever you get done with a specific task. And this is basically it. So what do you think? Do you think there's some add-ons that I should do? This is probably, it's probably my fourth go round at a bug out bag. I've rucked with these things. These things can be particularly heavy, so you should probably ruck and train with them just in case. There's probably some stuff in here that you think that you may want or need. Feel free to add that to that. But this works for me. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.